The band Feel is an independent rock and roll band out of St. Louis, Missouri. They are currently out on tour in support of their latest release called Into the Sun. I think it's just so much to listen to. I get obsessed with music, and I don't know if you're like that, but I'll find a band and just listen to the shit out of them forever. I think in this digital world that we're living in, a lot of times like the lore of bands get lost because everybody's putting things out on streaming. There's definitely the vinyl resurgence and stuff, but unless you're into that, you miss the liner notes and the story of the bands.
I'm kind of a freak where I remember very, very odd details about things and specifically dates and numbers. And it was just something that came so naturally and organically of just a desire to do it. And I was blessed enough that my parents spent a little bit of money for like $100 electric guitar. And that's just how it went. And then I just haven't stopped for better or for worse. So I have almost every set list I've ever had in my life, every poster that we've had our name on, anything. I'm like the historian with that stuff. And I just did and we went for it, man. We were playing like all of 2112 right away, and a bunch of Boston and Led Zeppelin, of course, and stuff like that. And it wasn't like amazing, but I just kind of went for it from the very beginning. I was like, if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it. I grew up being kind of, I won't say force fed, but taught, this history was all around me, the city. It's almost like I'm a missionary for these people musically
Sure.
who may not be talked about as much anymore or ever talked about. It's just a cool thing, man. There's a lot more to this whole thing than music, you know,
Absolutely.
but dedication is a huge thing, and that can add a ton to chemistry. Because if
Oh,
you know
yeah.
you got the same end goal, you're almost like one person in those moments. We haven't been in a normal band situation ever. We
Right.
all live in different places. We don't really get together because of that, but we spend a ton of time in the van together and on the road. So you could say that I've been looking for this lineup since I was like 13. So I guess that's how I know, you know. And if it's, I always say you demand quality. So if it's not there, you got to keep going. But if you don't have all the tires on, man, it ain't gonna run. What's cool about us that people won't be able to know yet unless they've seen our shows, I guess. But we have very deep influences in acoustic music, Laurel Canyon stuff like me specifically, Joni Mitchell and Jackson Brown, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and
Absolutely.
a lot of Celtic music, and I guess you would just call it mountain music and like bluegrass and all that kind of stuff. There are technically no rules. There are some things you shouldn't do, but because it has to be appropriate.
Sure.
But we are setting the standard for ourselves of what we can do. I laid down this one guitar part that sounded awesome. Not because I did it, but it just sounded awesome. If Lord of the Rings was more of a like a modern story, that's like the guitar part you would hear going into Mordor or something like that.
We should make an album and then just sequence it as one track so they can't skip it. Rock and roll is kind of like, this day and age, it doesn't get to that level anymore, but playing in a room full of 500 people, your fans, is pretty amazing.
It's almost like they're a part of the band. It's just like one big event, and that's kind of a cool thing that we've been able to cultivate with folks. And yeah, it's awesome, man. We get to play our own shows and play long sets and experiment and jam. The thing about being on the road and touring and stuff and spending so much close time with these people, it's unlike anything else. It's like being in a car with your sister like for 8 hours going to someplace. You get kind of tired of her. You still love her, but as you get older and you realize those kinds of things of touring, you just know when to be by yourself and you know when to get together. It's cool. We're just being smart about socializing. That's what it comes down to. Is the music can be awesome, but you really hope that the relationships are good too.